So this is going to be kind of a gameplay guide and tutorial for like H1 and what its different forms are for, and like how to play and utilize all the tools along with some tips and tricks on Go-Burst and a couple of mashup things. But basically, I feel like this suit is sometimes a little underplayed or maybe misrepresented in the community. Is that a lot of times I think people think it's a little bit like you play follow, you slap, you see. A lot of this is because in GBS, that's what you did with it. And a lot of it's also because even when you watch a lot of Japanese players, you see them scanning follow and doing this a lot. And it's very good, but there's a lot of other things you need to know what to do and why to do them. First of all is normal mode, which is if you watch like a lot of the people that are pretty decent at this at all, they will sit in normal mode for a decent bit of the game just because follow and Titus cannot really output firepower like, you know, this. And sometimes you just need something that can shoot a good main. This main is actually above average. It's actually pretty good. You can cancel in the BC. Your BC has really good tracking, especially for a move that I don't want to say it's airless because it's not, but you don't like, you're not going to just get shot doing it a lot of times because it does have mobility on it. And you can also cancel main, BC, sub, and all that will track. And if you hit somebody on the ground, it does like to whiff like that. It depends on which suit you're fighting. But if you're above them, it won't. And if you catch them in the air, they won't. But just be aware that happens. Another thing to note is that, well, there's a ground there, but that wouldn't combo. It's hard to see it because the AI is just gonna like get hit anyways, but a player can block there pretty much all the time. So you have to do a third shot like that, or you have to do lead into CCAP. So speaking of which, let's talk about its melee. So side B is not very good at step wars. It cuts tracking really well. And so like it cuts stepping well, but it's slow. So if you're like ever up close to somebody, side B, I feel it almost always loses whenever I mess with it. 8B is generally the much better option, but you don't get much off of it. Side B is useful for doing stuff like this, which is of course always dirty. But its main melee is really CCAP. This thing is a really good priority. It does a lot of damage. And it can lead to a lot of damage too. So like when you land this, you can always finish the ender with, you know, like a melee string. That wasn't good. But you're supposed to just be shooting out there, but it's fine. But even overheat, you can do that. So even if you get overheat, you're still going to do like 200 and, you know, 13, probably 230 if it wasn't even throw rate. So let's just kill him. Okay, so other than that, the mode doesn't really have too much. I think it has a pretty good turn rate for something that's in 2K, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, it's don't forget you can always transform your forms, so you can do stuff like and then cancel the BC and stuff like that too. So, but yeah, I think it's about done with normal mode. It's pretty basic. If you can play fundamental Gundam, you can do normal mode. And next we're on Spallo. It has noticeably less red block range than, or does it really? Yeah, it has a little bit less red block range than normal mode. And a lot of times, even if you're playing like safe and defensive, you're gonna want to maybe throw out like a main or a sub and then switch back. It's extremely effective at just sometimes being like an annoying poke that you can throw out, has good tracking and all that. But most of the time what you're doing is you're trying to get in close and fishing for a hit with side A. Now as you saw something happen, side A whiffed. Why did it whiff? Well, that's because you can aim the side A. You can aim it left or right. Now if you do it from far enough away, it's still going to like start tracking in and hit them. But that's very, very important when they're landing, that you want to throw the dagger in the direction that they're moving on their landing. It's going to help with getting a lot of punishes. And also remember to not do something like that and then look like an idiot and whiff, because you're just boosting him left and you're like, well, I need to throw straight, and then you don't throw straight. So yeah, that's kind of a common mistake or thing people sometimes don't know about the suit. Also, if you are playing like this, don't forget you can just do that, and you don't have to go into slap PC and then get double one. But next, I'm pretty much going to talk about its struggle plays, which are really good. So I think you saw it there. Yeah, like I just skyboxed myself. Like Like, yeah, it's obviously really good at how quick you can skybox yourself. You can also cancel that in the BC if you want to like like if you want to like switch targets and then like yeet yourself across the map. The issue is you cannot BC when you are out of boost. So like I'm pressing BC, nothing happens. You can 2B. So you can do that even over here, which is really nice. And then also, if you do hit that, then you can always do stuff like that. Woo, I won't combo. But yeah, you can see the fall happen. Once the fall happens, you can't get combo anymore. So that's just kind of showing again. As far as combos go, generally, most of the time, I see a lot of people trying to end with BC 2B. That's really only something you're going to be doing when you're time manning. And if you are getting a time man and you hit them with BC, just do that. Like, it's going to be a lot more damage if you're truly allowed to like have free reign. Now, of course, sometimes you're in that middle ground and you're not sure, and that's fine. But just doing that is actually pretty good damage. Just CSA away. It's really good. You carry momentum, so you can just you see I pushed myself a pretty good distance away. It's really solid. You don't really lose anything. It also lets you basically immediately enter struggle play land where you can go like, ooh, look. Oh, look, oh, you know, and if you turn, and because CSA will retarget a lot of times, you can also use it to like, maybe just let the other person recover if you see your teammate's gonna have it, and then throw the CSA at the guy chasing you, and then, 2B LA. It's really powerful. It's CSA. It's an okay tool if you can get it lined up, but a lot of times people just slide in between the hits, and the hits don't have a ton of stuns, so unless your teammate's following up on it, a lot of times you're not going to get anything. It is kind of notable that point blank, it does instantly knock down. Like, I can't do it point blank if somebody's not beating at me, but if a Bale is chasing you, like, hitting the whole thing knocks the hell out of itself, which is really funny. And stuff like that. It can be useful anti-melee as well. BC melee priority is really good, and it will do a good job of forcing people to veneer, but a lot of times I feel like that's what you want to do. You want to force them to veneer, and then you want to get out. Because you will be shot by a lot of players, and just forcing a veneer, like, force veneer, and then do that or something. It's... And that's actually the play I recommend against a lot of suits, is like that. Like, because if you just get them off angle, because the thing is, because they have to veneer, yeah, and hopefully your teammate's shooting at them. That's what I mean. Like, it's like a thing you do when your teammate's shooting at them, and that's kind of a subtle little trick to get hits where you won't get shot by them doing veneer shot. And hopefully you will punish them with CSA, or maybe 2B, or maybe hopefully your teammate is shooting them. Okay, so that's pretty much what this one does. It's a little more complicated, but yeah, it's still not too bad. So last of all, we have Titus form. So this form is, I feel, sometimes the most unplayed, despite it having very important traits and very important things. So first of all, that main I did, it's terrible. You pretty much are never going to press that button. I mean, if you know it's going to win the game or it's going to kill the person, go for it. But like, it's not. It's really bad. Its more important tool is generally Big Rod. It staggers for quite a long time. It will destroy projectiles that don't do like 100 or it has like 100 HP, and it will destroy the projectiles. And it's really good at gimping machine gun suits or suits that don't have like a powerful sub to just like destroy it. So yeah, it also has really good tracking, and it's really big, and it leads into, as you can see from the duration, a good chunk of damage. So yeah, that's nice. It also will, if somebody dashes under you, I would have spun 180. Like, it can't throw straight below it, but it can throw, like, behind it. So it has, like, near infinite, like, muzzle kind of direction on the move, which can lead to really disgusting... Yeah, you saw it almost there. It's just unfortunately, if that move didn't veneer, it would be broken to jump over people's heads and press, you know, main rock. But unfortunately it does. So yeah. Its last tool is BC, or not its last tool, but its last kind of special is BC. At first, it seems like a lot worse version of this, and you know, in many ways it is. But it does have a lot of use cases. The main use case you'll use it against is landing punish people that are like flipping away 5,000 times or doing struggle cancel routes. Like against Brave Commander or against Impulse especially. When Impulse is like going, ooh, I'm on the ground, I'm doing cancel. You just drop BC on it, and the thing is kind of slow moving, and a lot of times you'll just like landing punish it while you're still doing other stuff. So you don't have to like, you just like time it and go, okay, he's going to be out of tools here, and you can use that to like steal a landing. You'll have one of his timings punished. And that's really effective. It's also really effective at blowing up Reborn's players that haven't learned you're supposed to, or they try to be greedy and they don't want to step out of, they don't want to step flow. It's really funny when like a Reborn slips across the map and the slow boy like chases him and hits him across the entire map, and then you just transform and slap your so okay, now onto its melees. 8B it will jump over like I'm on Terra, so it's a pretty good approach. It pretty much downs though, so you don't get a combo off it. But it's good damage. But generally you use it to kind of like approach over things, and then you'll do like side B. Side B is a very good performance button, from what I can tell. It unfortunately, the follow-up's good, but like it kind of just knocks them down. It will sling them to the side, and it's really difficult to do any follow-up on. Yeah, so that's pretty much that move. Not too much to it. It's optimal combos, just doing stuff like this. It actually does a lot of damage. Yeah, you can do the double 2B, double 5B in either order. Again, that's always kind of risky. Important to note, if you are overheated, again, you can do that, which is nice. But in effect, it's not really the main cream of the crop. Now I'm going to talk about the move that's really makes what this suit does work, along with CSB, which I realize I'm going to need to restart to have CSB up, so give me a sec here. So while this is happening, CSB, it buffs your mobility, gives you more boosts, and gives you better red lock range, and gives you more damage. So it improves your risk reward and makes you better at defensive play. What this means is, I generally feel the primary time you want to be using that mode is when your opponent's about to burst on, when your opponent is activating their first burst. So generally it's hopefully around, you can transition it then into using it yourself on your own F burst, which is really, really strong. But a lot of the times, especially being like a 2K, especially since he's playing safe, if you get to like 300 HP and you're ahead, sometimes the enemy's gonna like go fighting burst, let's dive the 2K, fuck this. And it's very effective, and that's what 2B is really good at defensive movement. But CSB giving you just that extra boost, like watch 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you almost get 8. That is incredible. Yeah, you almost get 8. And you move faster, your turn rate goes up, your red lock is now like pretty good. Unfortunately, it did end. Your damage is a good bit higher, and you only get it once per life. But it lasts plenty long enough to deal with something fighting bursting on you. And I'm already kind of showing what the main technique is. So, 2B. So a lot of times when you're first starting out, like if you do it like that right there, you're going to get shot when you're doing 2B, like in the air, because you stall long enough. But if you do it like that, right as you land, or even like that, where you step 2B step, like, it's so hard to hit this pattern. It's almost like a step dive. It's a lot more boost and efficient than step dive, but especially combined with mobility from, you know, the other stuff. Well, sorry, you need to be kind of in red lock. I would have been in red lock, but stuff like that, it's so hard to hit you moving. And if you let the move actually play out, you do this shockwave, which is really good for gimping melee suits. Chasing you, and can lead into, as you can see, pretty high damage. Like that can be a big oof if somebody's in fighting burst and they ran into shockwave. Also, you can of course step shockwave. So it's very important. The other thing that's not really known, I think this is probably like one of the most unknown things, is that that's the fastest melee Age 1 has. 2B. Because the first hit of it is a hit. And not only that, there's something else that's odd about it. It's active the whole time. So it's active while you're falling. And it has actually a pretty good hitbox. It trades with almost every strong melee in the game. Like, of course, the top melees will still beat it, but between it being active, the number of times where I'm getting aped on by a melee suit, and I'm just like, 2B, and it works is incredible. And in any Step War, 2B will beat most moves in Step Wars because you can't really see it here. Because unfortunately, when I step, I move away and I instantly fall down. But a lot of times, the other suits will spend precious time in the point-blank step approaching you, and you already have a hitbox out. You hit their hitbox extension, and it's just a clean hit. And I can't think of a time I've lost a point-blank melee step battle encounter where I didn't, get out boosted, or like it wasn't like I would have lost no matter what melee I pressed. So that's kind of something really critical, really important to see. The last thing is that CCAB is like, it's a really hard down, where it launches them and they can't really like tech out of it properly. I think they can't tech out of it properly. Maybe I'm insane. But the main thing with it is it's multi-hit and skyboxes them, but its multi-hits lead to some silly things because it actually has better than you think priority. So it hits before Bale sub does, for instance. So if you hit a Bale doing sub, like, well, he got launched. But Bale would be super armoring through that, and you can just step right and then side B straight into BC and get a full combo. So that's nice. I think the only two things I've forgotten is kind of like a little bit of Nogi setup you can do with BC. So sometimes somebody's waking up with BC and you can drop it and then just kind of jump over their head and try to trick some of the smarter players to ground run under you, and then they just get chunked by the BC. It happens a lot. It's kind of cheesy. Oh, and because I should probably mention it, that's the combo you do offside him. Or normally you let it go out longer, but yeah, that's what you do off. If you hit a side B with Spallo, because it's definitely noticeable when you're first playing it, because like you can't really follow up after the move. Yeah, same. So, but. And unfortunately, 2 hits will do that. So yeah, you can also immediately just go into if you really want optimal damage, but it's not really that much more than just do CSA. Like, come on. So yeah, that's pretty much the suit in a nutshell. Fighting burst is obviously, in my opinion, the definite go-to because Spallo and Titus gain nothing from really shooting. I guess you could extend, but I feel like the extra boost of fighting, combined with you being a 2K, is just so much more reliable, especially with how defensive Titus is in CSB mode. Also, when you're in fighting, you get to do fun gameplay decisions like, throwing rocks into melee, which is, when you have CSB up, this is so fast. And this damage is, oh, I'm supposed to only do one, my bad. Also, I should note that when you have CSB, your damage is even higher. So the damage off this, can be like well over 300, which is, or it's in the 300s, not well over. But off a projectile, that's disgusting. So yeah, that's Age 1. Hopefully, I see more people playing this thing out there. It's fun, it's good, it has a lot of options. Messing around with playing all the forms in the matchup. There's some matchups where I definitely feel like I'm forced to sit in Spallo. There's other matchups where I play Spallo and it does not feel good. And I feel like I need to be sitting in like Titus or Numco. So yeah, enjoy. That will be it. Thank you. Bye.